Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Each episode is about a single movie, which we'll get to this episode's movie in a little bit. But first, it's time for the fan vote. You all know it, you all love it. And don't forget that the vote will be only happening in the Discord, the Ferret Nation Discord. So make sure you click the link below to join to vote, or there's no other way to vote. That's it. The movies you can choose from are Fight Club, suggested by Callus, Hourglass Sanatorium, which was recommended by David Lopan, Triple X, which was recommended by Player 2, and Starship Troopers, which was suggested by Iovio Gaming, aka the Pickleman, aka MIA for 3 years now. Um, let's go ahead and get started by introducing ourselves before we talk about the movie. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I'm here with...
Brady Waffles.
Hey, Mation.
Rave positivity.
How are we doing today, folks? I hope everyone had a great New Year's.
Well,
Sure did.
my prediction last episode was wrong, guys. I'm sorry I didn't win the jackpot yet.
You won the jackpot of our hearts, though.
Oh, thanks.
It's true.
But, I mean, it has only been 7 days, so, give it time.
Give it
Plus,
that.
I probably have to enter a jackpot thing or something. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, something buy ticket, something, have a 0.1% chance of
Yeah.
winning.
Yeah. And I have to drive out of state for that, even though I live in Nevada.
The home of
Dumb.
gambling.
Yeah. Well, the casinos didn't want to be competing against the lottery, so it's not allowed here.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, it's fine. The casinos pay for all the stuff the lottery would, so whatever.
It all equals out.
Yeah.
So, you know what's stranger than the fiction that
That-
you've made in your head about winning the lottery? The
The
movie that we're
movie.
talking today.
Yeah. This movie is definitely stranger than fiction. That's the title.
Ayo.
It stars Will Ferrell, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Dustin Hoffman, Queen Latifah, and Emma Thompson. An IRS auditor, Harold Crick, suddenly finds his mundane Chicago life to be the subject of narration only that he can hear. Narration that begins to affect his entire existence, from his work to his love life to his death. And I want to start off with, I mean, it's a minor thing, but I really enjoy that. What do you guys think of, like, at the towards the beginning, especially, you see it a lot, like the visual representation of him counting everything.
Loved it. I really, really enjoyed this movie.
It was
Good.
great line work.
Yeah.
Mhm. For sure.
The one shot I
Um,
didn't like was the shot from inside his mouth.
Yep. I was about
Yeah.
to say that exact thing. I was like, wow, if this is how
That's
this is starting out, I'm nervous.
The only every time I see that, I just think, what did, like, I guess tiny cameras exist, but it's just like it's for the time period, that high def with a tiny mouth camera is pretty good.
Yeah,
It's also gross, but
yeah, very gross, but very interesting shot, I guess.
yeah.
But yeah, all the little
but-
like lines and stuff. I mean, even it continues on throughout the entire movie, really. Where
It does,
Like
but if
the-
you notice, it does get less and less as he stops counting things in his head.
right, yeah,
So, it is the visual representation of him counting things, and I like it when he eventually meets the professor, and the professor immediately can tell, like, "Oh, you're counting stuff." And he's like, "No, I'm not." And then you see a representation of him like counting, like how much soap is in the soap dispensers, and
Yep.
How many times he brushes his teeth, or how many times he goes
Yeah.
in circles.
yeah. So I don't know. I just have always really liked that little aspect of the movie. Just seeing that representation. I think it's done really well, and I'm always just like, damn, that would take, like, I could probably do that in After Effects, but it would take me a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I-
really
I
got the
really
line
liked
up
it.
pretty well too with the environment that he's going through.
Yeah.
CG gets a wait, is that CG? I guess it is CG.
It's
CG gets a
technically
5
yeah.
out of 5.
It's computer animated graphics. So yeah. Yeah, no, I've always I don't know if you just heard that car drive by, but
Nope.
yeah, I've always enjoyed that. I mean, I really like this movie. Just like the premise of it, like I don't know, it's fun that it's just a mundane guy and suddenly he's hearing voices and it turns out it's narration from a narrator writing a book about him.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also read like there are scenes when he hears her like outside or whatever, he actually has an earpiece in, so to make it look more practical and natural, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a it's
So
a, it's a great concept, and they do
Mhm.
they do a fair amount with it. But there are segments of this movie that there is just no narration at all, which kind of bogged down the experience for me because it has that main gimmick like from the get go of the author writing the book, and then he starts hearing it, and that's like the main like drag into the movie where it's a very fun opening and he's yelling at no one and all of a sudden it says like, oh, you're gonna he didn't know that this would be the first step to his death or demise or whatever, and like that's really fun. But then like there's like 30-minute segments of this movie where there's just no narration at all and he's just kind of doing whatever, and I really felt those parts of the movie start to drag.
that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. I thought it was a good
Yeah.
representation of like her writer's block.
Yeah.
Well,
Kind of how I
which-
pictured it.
Yeah.
that's how I kind of was thinking about it, was like every time he started to do something interesting, he like the writer's block would stop, but he was doing things that were like, various plot moments, I guess you could say, and just there was no voice over happening. So I guess my idea of what was happening kind of broke down. But that being said, I think there's several moments where they could have introduced the narrator again, like when he's making out with the baker lady, Anna, or like something like that. That would have added maybe a little bit more humor, maybe a little bit more comedy, maybe a bit more of some sort of reaction from him, because now he's doing the act of making love or something like that, and his life is being narrated still. I think that they missed out on some key moments that should have had the narrator pop back in.
I can see that, but also like that scene's awkward enough.
Well,
Yeah.
every interaction between Will Ferrell and Maggie Gyllenhaal is pretty awkward, but
Yeah.
I wanted
Like-
more from the idea of this narrator, and they're just I like, it doesn't have to be every scene, like obviously, but I wanted more of it because the mundane human stuff going on, like the day-to-day stuff, is not interesting enough to keep me engaged.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, and then he says at one point, like it feels like he's not getting the whole story, so like he doesn't hear the narration the whole time, and obviously, like you see this random, like very beginning, and just kind of randomly throughout the movie, this kid getting the bike and this woman looking for a job, and obviously they're like in, big part of her story, but he doesn't, know any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there definitely could have been other parts where they could have thrown in the narrator and didn't. But
Yeah, because that
didn't feel like
that
it-
first time that he went to the bakery and he was like auditing her, like that whole like interaction where like the narrator's talking about him staring at her boobs and whatever, and envisioning himself doing whatever. That's great. I wanted
Yeah.
more of that. I wanted more of those like moments where it's extra awkward because now there's someone actually saying what he's thinking or saying what the events happening on screen while he's doing them.
That's fair. That would have
Yeah.
been really funny too, because he starts to trip up every time he hears her voice. So that would have been even better.
Right.
yeah, and I think, I agree. It definitely would have been like made things awkward and could have been funny. Also, unless you get kind of like grossed out by some people's awkwardness in movies, or just. But
Yeah, but the whole movie's
I-
kind of awkward, you know. Like, why?
It is.
Why not add that extra layer of having the narrator being there as more presently throughout these specific moments where it would have made the scene a bit more awkward or a bit more humorous to have her actually narrating over things.
Well, and I think part of the reason that is because, like, if you think about from like the book point of view, like the author, you know, in their story, these two end up together, and her narrating it could have broken that, like, made it so that didn't happen, and then it doesn't go with the book. Like, unless he gets to the point where he can just fully ignore her and just, you know, make out.
Well, yeah, I think it would be funny to see him trying to ignore her in that moment.
Yes.
And yeah.
Which is fair. What does Greedy think? We haven't heard from Greedy.
Yeah, I thought like Yemmy said, no, like the premise is good and it just slows down, and I think the whole relationship was kind of forced and just very awkward at times, and yeah,
For sure.
I don't know, and it just slowed down because they were focusing, which is not a bad thing to focus, on him on him doing what he does, but like the relationship stuff just made it a little slow down in the middle of the movie. Movie felt like it was 8 hours long.
Yeah, I will say, like, the start to their relationship isn't half bad. But the problem is that about more than halfway through the movie, when he shows up with the flower, all of a sudden she's madly in love with him. He's madly in love with her. It happened right after that moment where he denies he wants to pay for the cookies or whatever.
Yeah.
And I do
I
feel like
definitely-
there could have, like, because the start is really good. Like, they're kind of having a back and forth. They're kind of they meet each other on the bus. There's a little bit of a back and forth there, but then they skip ahead, and it's like, wait a second, hold on here.
I definitely feel that. I feel like maybe, they're just kind of hinting as like, well, yeah, he's been there a few times since then, but you don't see that, or it doesn't feel like it, and so yeah, it is just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, if he
Okay.
has been there a couple
Yeah.
more times since we last saw them, they should have done a better job at representing that, like saying like, oh, hey, welcome back for the 5th time this week or something like that, something to just tell us that there's been more going on. But from my viewpoint, from looking at this movie, which has been chronological and, been day to day, it seems like that's the 3rd interaction that they've had by the time that he is counting the actual numbers. And then the 4th interaction is him saying, I want you.
I think even like the cookie scene, if he would have gone a little bit more in depth with his childhood, like he said like his mom never baked anything, or like, and she sees that, she feels something there. Like you can see like it kind of like she switches gears. And I feel like if they would have had an actual conversation while he was eating the cookie, or kind of done some like background character development for him to show that like they're actually gaining a relationship, they're like like a friendship at that point at least.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have used that scene a little bit better
And
to do that.
that's one of those scenes where they could have had the narrator come in and fill in those gaps. Like,
Yes.
after
Yeah.
he says the line about, oh, my mother never made me cookies, she could be like, he said, thinking back to the time when blah, blah, blah. Like, I think that would have been really interesting, because instead of him, because he just internalizes it. But if she says it for him inside of his head, maybe he would have been more comfortable at saying it, or it would have filled in the gaps for us. Maybe not for, Maggie Gyllenhaal, but still, it's a nice fill-in for his background as a character.
Yeah.
I
Well, and
agree.
it could even been something like, oh, she, now feels like, I don't know if her
The
book
look in her
was-
eye was more
Yeah.
more compassionate than usual.
Yeah, something like that would have been nice, because their relationship. Well, I think it's kind of cute there at the end, but it the whole time it was just like this is a little forced.
Yeah, but what happens when she
Um,
reads the book?
He won't let her read the book.
The sequel.
I was reading this like top-selling book, Death and Taxes, and there's 2 characters who have the same names as us and the same relationship.
Well, maybe in the final release version she changed the names, knowing like these. I can't say these aren't based on real people.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. That kind of like, what if she just post writing it down just changes everything. Like, does everything change in the universe, or is everything that's already passed come to pass just happen?
Yeah, I think it doesn't because
good
she said she
question.
was going to change the book, and I've always felt this way. They don't ever like specify, but I feel like it's a magic typewriter, so she just has to write it on a different way, like typewriter, computer, or something.
Yeah, she's old
Like I said, I
school.
don't know. Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's ever been confirmed or anything. But that's just always kind of what I got. Is it felt like it was the typewriter that was like magical.
Well, I mean, they got a magic watch. Might as well have a magic typewriter.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing is like, and you see her when she's typing. The second she finishes the sentence, like the phone rang. The phone rang again. It rang a third time, and then she hits period and it rings again. She's like, it's like that's when I'm like, okay, it's the typewriter that does it.
Yeah. I didn't really
Because she
think about it.
technically wrote his death scene.
Yeah, just
Earlier.
on legal paper, or whatever.
Yeah. So.
Weird.
So yeah, she could just she could write like a happy ending on the page, but then just be like, oh, here's my written notes for the actual ending. Like, here's the actual ending, and she can just scribble out all the stuff from before.
Yeah, I saved him, and then once he lived, I wrote on a different typewriter because I realized my typewriter was magic. The same, the right ending, the actual tragedy.
Yeah, no, he's dead. He's dead.
No, turns out he got hit by another bus.
was-
jumping to the end.
He was in the hospital in his bed, and all of a sudden a bus ran through the wall.
Yeah.
On the 5th floor.
On the 5th floor. It's the craziest thing ever.
When he
Well,
was
that's just
finally
like-
being released from the hospital with
Yeah.
mending his broken bruise.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Bus just like it hit another car and just skyrocketed right through the 5th.
It hit
Lord.
a
No, plot
random
twist.
ramp.
It was a little boy that hit him. And
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, the little boy came in to thank him for saving him, and he ran into him so hard that he fell out the window, then got hit by a bus on the way down.
Now that's an ending.
Yeah. I liked the ending they gave us though.
I did too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was. I thought the scientist or the therapist guy was gonna be the one to take over for the death, or is he? No, he wasn't.
no,
I thought that's how it was gonna end. So it was nice not predicting the ending.
but I mean, the author didn't know about the He's not a he's not a therapist. He was just a like an English teacher.
Oh, yeah,
or-
he
was a
or
literature-
literature
yeah.
expert or something like that. She didn't
Yeah.
even know about him until like the very end.
Well, she knew
Right.
of him because he wrote her letters and stuff. But yeah, she didn't know he was involved until Harold mentioned him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Kinda cool having some foreshadowing in there too, because he was eating an apple in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. That's how it finally came to her. She saw an apple roll across the street and went, "Gotta die while he's doing his apple thing in the morning."
yeah I
Can
do.
we just talk about all the drool that would have come out of his mouth if he did that every single morning, like had the apple in his mouth like that?
His shirt's just covered in drool by the time he gets to work. No, he's actually really good at. Well, he had his. No, I don't want to mention that because there's a person in the news that happened to recently.
All right.
Okay.
I can tell you guys later. I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Secret.
It's fine. But yeah, no, he just, he just as he's biting the apple goes and just sucks
Oh.
all the spit back.
Gross.
Yeah, we need a nice
Oh, man.
camera angle from inside his mouth when he's doing that too.
Oh
Oh,
god.
God.
I'm surprised they didn't do that, honestly.
Yeah,
At
they
some point, like
they only had the budget for the one shot. Yeah.
Yeah, that camera was really expensive.
he ended up swallowing it.
Yeah,
Whoops.
it was a month before they got it back.
Oh god. Oh man.
Yeah, I like how the watch got set to the wrong time, and that's kind of what causes the
Yeah.
events of the ending. I like that, but the actual ending of the movie where he doesn't die is just a little bit too predictable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, it turns from a tragedy into a comedy, and you kind of feel that before it all happens. And you kind of figured that especially after her line on the table talking about how, like, how many people have I killed, you kind of figured, like, yeah, she's gonna change the book, yeah.
She's not. Yeah, no. I think they did a real good job. Like, yeah, that she's gonna not go through with it, but I think they did a real good job of justifying it. Just the trauma or torment, she was going through of, I killed all these. If this magic typewriter has done this before, I've killed all these people. And her justification in the end was like, well, if somebody doesn't know they're going to die and dies, that's tragedy. But if someone knows they're going to die and still chooses to die, that's somebody we want to keep around.
That's fate.
Yeah.
I just like how the literature guy was like, you have to die. This book is too good. It's like
He's like, I don't care about your life. Die.
We are looking at Will Ferrell here, a human being, and the book is so good. The ending is so good that she wrote that he needs to die for this book.
Yeah.
Your life means something, but her fame is more.
And
so,
is the ending of the book really
he's-
that good? Like
his justification, he's definitely wrong in this situation, but his justification, is like,
it's a modern classic.
you're gonna die eventually, but you might as well go out because we don't know yet that he was going out dying a hero. It's like this is like the best way to die, has meaning why you die. It's a good way to die, and then he's also just like, also it gets this book published, and I've got a crush on the author, and I want a boner.
oh my gosh.
That's what he was thinking. It's Dustin Hoffman. Of course he was.
That's fair.
Because I believe he got caught up in the Me Too moment. Or the Me Too hashtag thing. If I remember right.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Not either.
I'm not 100% sure, but I thought I remember hearing that someone came out and said, like, yeah, Dustin Hoffman sexually harassed me too. It's like, and then
Lovely.
there was a few others, and it's like, yeah, that tracks. But yeah, no, he definitely cared more about the literature. Not necessarily, it's like, oh, this is a good, this is an honorable way to die. It was just, this book is too important to her career.
You see where his priorities are.
Yeah, his priorities were definitely, this book has to be released.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good twist that the watch wasn't set right, and that's what caused them to get to the bus stop early and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But is it really that good? Like, is that really a career-defining ending for a book? Like, I want to read her other stories and see, like, what else was lower than this, because then that's just, like, basic fourth grade writing then at that point.
And she kills off, like, everyone in every book, so it's like, is it, how different is it?
Yeah, this is the first twist ending where everyone will be like, oh, he's gonna die, he's gonna die, he's gonna die. How's he gonna die? Oh, he didn't die. Huh.
Yeah, but even then, the way that he does die, getting hit by a bus and saving a kid, because it's not really even that creative of a ending to the book.
I think the point was he went out saving somebody, and no one else in her book, everyone else in her other books probably just died.
That's fair.
And so this was the one where it's like, this death had meaning. It was to save a kid.
Yeah.
All the other deaths were just irrelevant, and just they had to die because she writes tragedies.
That is.
But yeah,
How
no.
sad.
I think that one of my favorite lines from any movie now is the one he says after leaving the bakery and after eating the cookies, and he looks at his book and he's like, my life is a tragedy. Like, you're not going to understand what this this just sounds like gibberish to you, but I think that's one of my favorite lines in any movie ever, honestly, because it's very well present. Like, he does a very good job of presenting it and saying it, and it's just in the moment it works so well because we all understand what he's saying, but she's probably doesn't understand at all. But it also has plenty of other uses as well. My life is a tragedy.
This might sound like gibberish to you, but my life's a tragedy. I think this movie had a lot of really good lines. I liked the line at the end about the not killing a dude who said he'd die or whatever. I said it before.
Yeah, you said it already.
Yeah, I don't need to quote it verbatim anymore. But I like that line a lot too.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah. But like I said, there's a lot of, I think, memorable moments. Like, I've seen this movie quite a few times, and still watching it today, and I was just like, yeah, I still like this movie. Good movie.
Yeah, I liked it, but I'm kind of on the okay spectrum instead of like loving
and
or something like that.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair. Like, I know it's not a perfect movie, but it's just, I don't know, it's probably a little bit of nostalgia, but also just a little bit of just, I don't know. I just really enjoy it. It's a good movie. Good movie. I know you said you might have a problem because it had Will Ferrell. How badly did Will Ferrell ruin the movie for you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that he did an amazing job. He was just kind of did a passable job, in my opinion. And that could just be personal bias because I kind of hate most of the other movies that he's in, and he's like a main character. But
no, I agree.
I mean, that's good that he's passable. Like
I was saying, like, this is definitely my favorite performance of his, and there's like,
it's funny. A lot of comedians or comedian actors, I don't like Adam Sandler's one of them, where it's like I don't really like his comedic movies, but when he does a serious movie like Uncut Gems for Adam Sandler, or even Punch Drunk Love, or in this case Will Ferrell being in, I guess he was kind of a comedy character in Barbie, but still he didn't ruin that movie. I think he fit the bill on that one, and this movie too. It's more of a serious role. It's not like a super funny movie. Like there's our humorous moments, but it's not like a comedy per se.
It's more of a drama for sure.
I liked him to being the more straight character, the more serious character, and it's unfortunate that his entire rest of his repertoire is just comedy after comedy after comedy after comedy, and I just don't like him as a comedic character, especially when he's teaming up with his best friend in the whole wide world, John C. Reilly. After I watched that, actually, I didn't watch the whole thing. I tapped out of Holmes and Watson or whatever it's called. About halfway through.
I think
I was
all of anyone who went and saw
disgusted
that movie
by
tapped
that.
out halfway through.
I was like, it kind of wrapped up everything in a bow as to why I don't like his acting and comedic style, and I like when Step Brothers first came out, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, this movie is so hilarious!" I went to go watch it, and this was before I like genuinely didn't like him acting, like because I was fine with Elf and that and his parts in other movies like Zoolander and stuff, but when I saw Step Brothers, I was like, I think I hate Will Ferrell, not personally, but I think I hate seeing him in movies.
See, I've never seen Step Brothers, and I heard that
it's just Man-Child, the movie.
Yeah. When I hear the Watson Holmes one, if I remember right, was just like they didn't want to do it, but there was a contract, so they just made it as bad as possible, supposedly. But like every review I like basically was just like, this is the awful, and I didn't make it through.
Yeah, I lost faith in humanity after that one.
Yeah.
I never even
But this
heard
movie.
Of
Oh,
no, like I said, it did.
Yeah, just don't.
So bad.
It's just continue living your life without even remembering that we mentioned it, because it is that
I
bad.
I can do that.
Yeah. No, I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan either. Like when he's like a bit part, or just like like in Zoolander or
Barbie, Lego Movie. I guess.
Yeah,
Lego Movie, he's like the big evil guy, but he does a good job in that. I think he does a great job.
Yeah. Like it's he's got to either be an evil person, a bit like a bit part in the movie, or serious man to make him fine. The only movie I can think where he's the main character that I like, and mostly it's because of the supporting cast, not necessarily him, is Anchorman.
Yeah.
Like it's not a great movie, I know that, but and part of that I think is just it deals with some friends from like I guess high school, Yeah.
Well, that's
I don't know
funny
when that
too,
movie
because everyone was raving about Anchorman, and I went to go watch Anchorman a couple years after it came out on DVD, and I was like, I don't know what the hype's all about. Like,
Yeah.
and the interesting thing is, I liked Talladega Nights when that came out, but
That was
everything
great.
like there's so many other things that I just don't like Will Smith in, and after rewatching
sure.
Talladega Nights, I'm sorry, Ray, I don't like the movie anymore. I usually stay away from anything that is like Will Smith. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, Will Smith too, but
Well,
Will
him
Ferrell
too.
as the main character, I usually stay away from.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
want to be slapped
fair.
slapped by Will Smith, so I try and steer clear of that.
Yeah. No, and like I said, I'm in the same boat for the most part. So I
I
think
like really stupid comedy, so I like him, and it makes it hard to watch stuff like this, like for me personally, because I feel like what he's saying is just sarcasm, even when it's not. So,
Well,
now I get what you're saying. I remember seeing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the TV show Scrubs, but there was a character in that show who's just crazy wacky. And then I saw him in, I think it was Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, and he was supposed to be like the straight man. And I just could not help but laugh at like every line he said, even though it wasn't funny. It's just the way he talks. I'm just like, dude, I can't take you seriously.
this is all a joke.
Like,
I get it.
It's like I love him, but he does not. Can't do serious anymore because of Scrubs.
yeah, I kind of feel the
That's
same way
fair.
about like Owen Wilson. Like anytime
Yeah.
he's playing like
Oh
a serious
gosh.
character, all I think of is like, freaking Lightning McQueen or his
Yeah.
like any other role that he's done. Like,
Yes.
I don't even know
I'm
if he
with you
really. I mean,
there.
I guess Marley and Me was a serious role from him.
Never
Yeah.
seen that movie. I don't
Never
want
saw it
to.
either. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
know
can't
how
take him
it
serious
goes.
in Loki.
that's true.
yeah, but he's not a serious character in Loki. He's still got that comedic side to
he's,
him.
He's just being Owen Wilson from a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
Loki.
Exactly.
Owen Wilson
there.
has like three different roles he plays.
That's
Wes
fair.
Anderson, Owen Wilson, a movie that he's in with Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, and then the
Yeah.
Marley and Me Owen Wilson, which I don't know if that's any different because I haven't seen it. But
He was in. It was. Have you guys seen Drill Bit Taylor?
yeah, I know of it. I don't know if I saw it though.
Yeah, he's in it too. He stars
Yeah.
in it. Just
Yeah, I knew
can't
he
do
was.
it.
Is that supposed to be a serious movie? I thought it was a comedy.
It is a comedy, and like that's
Oh,
why I
okay.
can't take him seriously either. Like,
Oh.
like
Hey,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
I was like, I think I've seen clips of it. And I was like, I thought it was a comedy.
it's an okay movie.
That's basically Ben Owen Wilson with Ben Stiller comedy. Even if Ben
Yeah.
Stiller's not in it, he probably produced it.
Right. He's there in spirit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyways, I guess we should go back to the the movie we're supposed to be talking about. Classic us.
What'd you all think of Maggie Gyllenhaal's character in general?
You know, when I was younger, I'm like, she's just too crazy and radical. And now as an adult, it's like, no, she's not crazy and radical enough.
I like her. I've always really liked her.
Yeah, no, I liked her too.
I thought this character was like almost too much. Like too. I don't know.
It's
I
like
wish
too
she
much
would've
of a
given a little-
characterization of the
Yeah.
like anarchist. Where it's like, yeah, she didn't have like her own. Like she kind of had her own personality, but
Yeah, she was kind of dry. Like she's like, oh yeah, like stick it to the man, but like I guess like I don't know. It was kind of. I feel like she could have been a little bit more dramatic, or
fleshed out a bit more.
yeah. I
Agreed.
think she could have done a little more, but as an actress, I like her.
Yeah, I think she did a good job in the movie. But yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like, we don't maybe see her enough, because like she does have
Yeah.
a character
Yeah.
change throughout, but it's like why exactly is her character changing this drastically or whatever?
Changed real
So
quick.
soon, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pacing of this movie was not good, and the character development was a bit shoddy, but I still really enjoyed it. I still really thought it was
Yeah.
a good movie.
No, like I said, it's still one of my favorite movies. It is, yeah, it has its flaws, but and especially nowadays when you just get so many movies with basically the same plot.
Yeah. If it's not a remake.
Yeah, if it's not a remake, it's a superhero movie with a very similar plot, which I still like those movies. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but something like this, just it was unique. Even for its time, it felt unique. It still feels unique. I think it's got a pretty good message overall. I guess I don't know. I don't know if we're we're like wrapping up here, or if we have more to say, or.
I mean, does anyone else have any points they want to bring up, or? No. Yes.
I like we kind of talked about it, but I liked the fact that it's the watch that ended up preventing him from dying.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was clever.
It was a nice touch.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't really get like why the watch was acting up during the movie, like showing all the symbols and stuff like that at times.
It was a magic watch. Yeah, we went over this.
Well, like why like there were sometimes it just seemed to be a little bit random. Like there weren't even any other main characters in the area, but it was like, well, and the watch is trying to get him into the plot or whatever. It's like, well, but there's no one around who's in the main cast. Like what's the watch trying to do?
Oh, well, the watch tried to warn him about the it wasn't a bulldozer, but the
Wrecking crew.
thing. Yeah, the wrecking crew tried to warn him about that because he didn't care for those nature shows and was looking out the window. You missed that part of the narration. It's in the DVD commentary though. Actually, I should watch this movie with the DVD commentary. See if there was like some narration that they just went, this goes a little too much, so we'll take it out. I wonder now. But yeah, and then when she ran by across the street, that's when it died. It was just like, come on.
Yeah.
Was there another time it went on the fritz? Went all haywire?
Yeah, there was a time when like well, I guess it was the baker was walking by.
Yeah.
And the watch was like trying to get him to look at her or something like that, which I guess ended up working because he got on the bus with her or whatever, or she got on the same buses. I don't know.
That was later. No, because that's when the watch died because he didn't notice her and he's like, come on. And then he had a little heart attack and died. And then they had to revive him with a little wind. I just want to say this plot could not happen nowadays with cell phones being, linked to the world clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could still have a digital watch.
Oh, you could, but you wouldn't need to ask for the time. You pull out your phone and go, oh, this is the exact time.
Well, that's when you write a character who's like, I'm not having a smartphone. Smartphones make
off
you
the grid.
dumb.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. You're right. You could.
It's not really well.
But even if
That's
he
not
didn't
really
have fun,
likely.
if we asked for the time, other people would have looked at their cell phones and gone, oh, this is the exact time.
But he's in a group of businessmen, and they always wear those Rolex watches. So who's gonna reach into their pocket and grab their phone when they have their Rolex watch? They got a
Let's be honest,
flash.
most of them would be looking at their phone at that moment.
They would probably be reading like the. New
But he
York
would
Times
ask
on
the one
app.
guy in the corner who's reading a newspaper because he thinks that
fair.
that social media makes people too, brings people apart. And then he's over there in the corner reading a newspaper, which is also bringing. There's some meta commentary in there as well.
Yeah, I guess if that's what they would have to do if it was made nowadays. They should make a sequel, and it's Emma Thompson's character is writing her next book. It's been almost 20 years since her last book, and she's finally going to do it again. But this time without the magic typewriter. But it turns out the power was in her all along.
Well, it can't really be her.
She can write the story
Emma
about
Thompson.
herself.
Yeah.
She's not alive.
Yeah, she is.
Did she not die? I thought she died.
Emma
No.
Thompson? No, she's still alive.
Who am I thinking of?
I don't,
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
My world just got rocked because I was like, oh man, it's a shame she's not alive anymore. Who am I thinking of?
She's very much alive.
Her
Oh,
career
wow, well,
spanned 4
excuse me.
decades.
Yeah.
Oh, she was made a dame by Queen Elizabeth II, which I guess is like
Well, that's dope.
the opposite, or not the opposite, but like
Yeah.
the same
That's
as
the
being
opposite of
knighted.
knight. Yeah, the opposite gender. Being
Hot
knighted.
dog.
Yeah, there's so many Emma Thompson movies you can go watch now.
Oh,
And not feel sad, yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
really weird. Because I watched Love Actually over the Christmas holiday, and I was like, man, oh, I wish she was still alive.
Yeah, I believe she's made movies since Love Actually.
Well, Merry Christmas.
She
She's alive.
probably has, and here I am. Oh my goodness.
Oh, there's some good news for you for today.
Yeah, what a wild ride this episode's been, huh?
My head hurts.
Emma Thompson was dead and now back alive, and she's killing people with her magic book. And
Oh my gosh.
Well,
What is going on?
here's a question for y'all. We talked about Maggie Gyllenhaal's character. What about Queen Latifah's character?
You know what?
She seemed like a pretty useless character in the movie, all things considered.
Yeah.
yeah, but I didn't hate her character or anything.
No, I mean,
she did a
I
really good
didn't
job.
hate her, but I just felt like if she wasn't in the movie, I don't think anything would have changed. Because I was
Yeah.
expecting, like,
Not at
when
all.
Will Ferrell went to the publisher studio, I was expecting her to walk in because she was bringing like those final pages to the publisher or whatever, and she would overhear him talking to her. Like I thought that was gonna be how they linked it. Instead, Will Ferrell goes into the IRS and tracks down
Yeah.
the author.
Which
But
that makes more sense for him to like track her down using IRS.
right,
But
I think
like
that it would have
your,
given
I like your
Latifah
idea much better.
something to do.
Yeah, yeah. She should have been the one who brought them together. You're right.
Yeah.
Because all she was just there, yeah, to just kind of be, I guess, the token black girl.
Honestly, though.
Just
Yeah.
to be like, we've got Queen Latifah.
She gets like
We're
a very
inclusive.
very small like because at the beginning of the movie she's like I've never asked for extra time for any client, and then she gets
Mhm.
like a small thing at the end where it's like, hey, my
Assistant's asking for more time.
my secretary is asking for more time. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I will say, up to this point, Queen Latifah had like only been in like a few comedies. Like I don't even remember. Yes, she was in Scary Movie 3 and like just
Ooh.
random weird. So like, it was interesting to see her in like a more serious role at the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think that's more normal now. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Queen Latifah movies.
Yeah, I don't think she's been in too much since like, well, I guess she she was apparently in Hustle from 2022, which was a Netflix exclusive starring Adam Sandler. Which,
Ooh.
you know, it's par for the course for Netflix movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might as well just own Netflix now.
Yeah, other than that, the most movies she's been in is from the Ice Age series, because I think she plays like Manny's daughter or something like that.
Yeah. Or no, wife.
Wife.
She plays the wife. That's right.
Huh.
And she doesn't even show up in that, like, I think until the second or third movie.
No, it's the second movie that Manny meets her.
Okay. I can't remember. I don't know. It's been forever since I've seen those movies. I don't even know if I've seen all of the first one.
All right, episode 200. Every single Ice Age movie.
All right. all 5 of them? 6? Are there 6 now? 7?
I think there's like 5.
Like, I think there's 3 or 4 main ones, but then there's like a few spin-off ones.
Yeah, there's 6. So there's Ice Age 2, The Meltdown, Ice Age 3, 8, Dawn of the
Continental Drift.
Dinosaurs,
Oh, okay. Then
Ice
Continental Drift.
Age Collision Course, which I think is one of those
Oh.
side movies you were talking about, and
Okay,
then
yeah.
Ice Age, the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild, I guess, which is
No,
another
that's a
spin-off.
spin-off. Yeah, that's a spin-off.
But yeah, there's also
I liked Buck
Continental
Wild.
Drift, right? Yeah, that's Ice Age
Yeah.
4.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Because I saw Dawn of the Dinosaurs and really liked it. Simon Pegg was in it. He plays Buck Wild or whatever.
And they gave him his own movie.
Yeah, he did.
Disney did, because Disney now owns
Good. Of course.
Everything.
what's the studio called? Blue something?
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
I
Which
think.
is pretty
Yeah.
crazy because they have been like competitors since
Yeah.
before that Fox acquisition, I guess. Yeah, it's crazy that here's a tangent. It's crazy that Disney can own so many freaking studios that were once competitors with them.
Yep.
Seems like someone should have stepped in for the monopoly case, but
You would think, but our people in charge don't care about things like that when they could be doing
Ah.
a bunch of other horrible things.
But Xbox buying Activision, they'll stall that for as long as they possibly can. But Disney buying Fox, they're like, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mickey Mouse. Oh.
Oh, Warner Brothers wants to buy Discovery? Sure, whatevs.
Next thing you know,
It's like we've
the-
got 3 studios that make movies right now.
That's sad.
Like, yeah.
well, they're still recovering from that Into the Wild movie back in the day when they went up against Madagascar with their own Madagascar type movie, and
Oh, yeah.
they've never felt adequate ever since. Yeah, there's a movie that not many people remember.
Vaguely remember it, yeah.
I don't know if I've heard of it. I'm like learning so much during this podcast.
That's what we're here for. is
Oh, you
to
know, I think it was
teach
just,
them
I think it was
movie
just
stuff.
called The Wild because it's the one with the koala and the. So yeah, Madagascar has a giraffe, a hippo, a lion, and a zebra, and The Wild has a giraffe, lion, koala, and a crocodile.
Yeah.
It was it was a movie that came out.
Yeah, and that one, if I remember right, because like Madagascar, it's a bunch of like zoo-owned animals returning to the wild, while the wild is like these animals escaping into the city. I don't know if they're zoo animals too, but
I believe they are zoo animals.
yeah.
Interesting.
But I mean, this is the type of thing, when
Oh wait, I'm wrong.
DreamWorks
It's
came
about
out
a
with
lion
ants.
accidentally shipped to the New York Zoo from the New York Zoo to Africa. So it is pretty much the same
Oh,
plot because
okay, yeah,
the Madagascar
that's-
characters also accidentally get shipped to Africa instead of like the
yeah.
preserve they were going to or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's not surprising. Like I said, Bugs Life ants came out this like
Uh,
6 months apart.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different though
Yeah.
because when DreamWorks split off from Pixar, they knew that they were working on a movie about ants or whatever. So that's kind of how that happened. The Wild seems to just kind of be like, yeah, we both had a similar idea. And of course, The Wild came out after Madagascar, like a year after, but they could have still been working on it for quite some time before then.
Oh,
so
for sure. I mean, it's
just seems to be one of those strange coincidences.
Yeah. I mean,
It's also possible that when the Madagascar came out and was so huge, they kind of shifted maybe from something to the plot of this
Yeah.
movie. I don't know.
well, like there's a lot of other movies. They're all like within several blocks of each other and work with the same actors. I'm sure ideas are going back and forth, and hell, you have screenwriters probably going to these studios with a script, and they're like, no, we're not going to buy that. And then once they leave, they're like, hey, we should make one similar to this but different enough that we don't have to pay that guy.
Yeah.
And then then he goes to Disney and same thing happens.
I figured out who I was thinking about, by the way.
Who?
Natasha Richardson. She passed away in 2009. She was married to Liam Neeson, which is why I was thinking, because he's also in Love Actually. I was like, oh my gosh, his actual wife is in here too. And I was wrong. I was dead wrong.
I don't know who that is.
She played the mom in The Parent Trap.
The
With Lindsay
original
Lohan.
or the Lindsay Lohan one?
The Lindsay Lohan one.
Yeah,
Ah,
Yeah.
vaguely remember that movie too.
She was also in Made in Manhattan and
What was her name
bunch of
again?
stuff. Natasha Richardson.
I'm going to just look her up real quick for my own curiosity.
Yeah, she passed away. Yeah, I remembered that she had like a skiing accident, and
Head
she ended up
injury after a
passing away.
skiing accident in
Yep.
Quebec.
Yep, that's her.
Hmm.
Oh, sad. But yeah,
I
that's who I
don't.
thought it was.
Yeah, so I actually don't recognize her at all.
Wow. Yeah. Well, there you go. The more
Yeah.
you know, I suppose.
I guess. Yeah. This episode's just been full of tangents.
It has. Oh man.
Well, I guess I'll ask for the last time. Like, does anyone have anything to bring up about Stranger Than Fiction before we move on to our final thoughts and review or rating?
I think I'm good.
I think I'm
good.
all right.
All right, Tay, take us away.
Sorry. Okay, so Stranger Than Fiction. As I said, this is still it's one of my favorite movies. You know, I think it's a fun cast. I think they work well together for the most part. Yeah, their pacings can be a little weird at times, and they miss some opportunities to put in some narrator to maybe even help with some character growth, which would have been nice, or characterization, I guess. I don't know. But overall, like I said, I still enjoy it. I think it's got a really good message. I think it's just fun, unique story. I like the visual effects. Like I said, they pepper throughout it where anytime he's counting something in his head. I think just overall, it's a fun movie. It's a good movie. Go see it if you haven't. I know we spoiled it for you, but that's okay. Overall, I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Nice. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic movie. Spacing was a little weird, character development a little weird, but overall, I would watch it again.
Good.
So,
Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm more so on like the. I think this movie's kind of mid average. I didn't like a lot of the character development. I thought that it really slowed down too much at times. I was hoping for more narration at more key moments in the plot. So I landed on a 3 out of 5.
all right.
Yeah, I thought really liked the premise of the story and the message, and but I just thought it was dull around the corners. That slowed down in the middle of the movie a lot. A lot of questionable things also as well. Um, I haven't. I'm also gonna do a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, we forgot to really dive into the "I want you" line.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. That is one of the reasons why I didn't like the relationship, because yeah, "I want you" is just such a weird line. Like I would rather have like had him say like I like you, or something other than "I
Yeah.
want you," because that's
Agreed.
very creepy.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely is. And every time I watch this, I think I just kind of forget about that until he says it, and it's just like, oh, yeah, they're that. Right.
They did that.
Yeah, I really wish it had been something, along the lines of, I like you, or,
I think I'm falling in love with you.
yeah, anything would have been better than, I want you. So then it comes off creepy. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
it comes
you
off
want
as
me
like
for what?
yeah. It's more of like a sexual thing than just like a
Yeah.
cute romantic thing, you know?
Yeah, and I get it. He's socially inept.
But yeah, that's the line he was practicing in his head over and over again, though. So,
Yeah.
which is also kind of weird. What are you gonna do?
Part of me wondered if he had like a touch of Asperger's or something, especially with like how smart he was and how particular he
Probably.
was.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe unintentional.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, 2006. When did
fair.
Community come out?
Well, I mean,
now.
either like even if
know
he
that.
is like has Asperger's, or he's some sort of autistic character, it's definitely better in this movie than some modern movies.
Yeah.
Like there was that Predator movie that came out where the kid was like, he was autistic, but he was like, I don't know, it's just a weird representation for a character like that. And This movie, I could totally like, yeah. You bring that up, like, yeah, totally could see him having Asperger's or something like that. Like, that,
Yeah.
it's a very natural thing because it doesn't push it into your face and be like, hey, he has Asperger's. Like, no, it's like, hey, it's a character and he could possibly have a mental disorder. I don't know.
Yeah.
And as crazy as it sounds, he can, do a normal job and have, a normal life. It's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing that
So-
up. That's a good point.
Yeah. It is. Also, I don't think they call it Asperger's anymore.
Oh, really?
After that South
Yeah.
Park episode, they probably wanted to change it.
No.
That was a joke, by the way. I apologize.
Oh, okay. I
Bad
don't know
joke.
what you're talking. I mean, it's South Park, so I figured probably.
It was just an episode where Cartman was making burgers and he put the burgers into his ass cheeks. And it was Asperger's.
Oh my gosh.
Gotcha. Yeah. No. My wife like deals with all that stuff, and I've heard her talking about it to like some of her classes. I don't remember exactly what it was though. But yeah, don't think they use that term anymore.
Interesting. Well, I will look that up because I
Yeah.
did not know that.
And it might
I'm
have been
learning so
because
much.
the scientist, again, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it might have been the scientist. His last name was Asperger's. That's why it was named after him. Might have
Oh.
actually been testing on people kind of unethically, and so that's kind of why they
Lord.
got away from it.
Of course.
So, like, not
Yeah,
nothing.
they just call it autism now. I mean,
Yeah.
Asperger's is just a type of
Yeah.
autism, just on a different like spectrum.
Right. That's
Yeah.
fair because it
And
is
so now
a
it's-
spectrum. So
Yeah, so now they just put it all on the autism spectrum. It's just a different part of the, But yeah,
It's kind of like dementia versus autism or
yeah. Well, I was like,
Alzheimer's.
those are okay. I was like, dementia and Alzheimer's, yes. Dementia
Yes.
and autism, two way different things.
yes.
That's what I would say.
But that
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense. Well,
But yeah, like I said, it's not my expertise. I just overhear my wife when she's teaching her online classes.
Huh.
So
Well, there we go.
Well, hey, Ray, you have a movie to
Yeah.
recommend for the next episode. Let's hear what it is.
Sure do. Yay! Okay, so this one I'm actually really excited about. It's one of my favorite movies. It's the movie.
Oh, no.
Oh,
time
no.
you said that, I was like, last time you said that, you ended up not liking the movie anymore.
Okay, but I have seen this movie like I saw this movie like last year. So I this one still holds up. The other one I hadn't seen.
I mean, you saw what was?
Tay, let her talk.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So this movie is Her, and the whole like premise is it's the near future, and a lonely writer develops an unlikely relationship with an operating system designed to meet his every need. Director is Spike Jonze, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson, Rooney Mara, Olivia Wilde, Chris Pratt, Kristen Wiig, who else? Amy Adams, and Portia Doubleday. This cast is incredible. This movie, amazing. It won 1 Oscar. It had 83 other types of award-winning plaques, all that good stuff, and was nominated for 186. This movie, I love it a lot. So I'm excited.
This has been on my list for quite some time, so I'm
Let's
glad to finally get around to watching it.
Awesome. It is available on HBO Max.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
good.
So
Also Amazon if you don't have that.
right.
Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I've heard about this one and had people try to go. You should watch it.
Well,
Not
now
for the
you-
podcast, just to be like, you should watch it.
Well, now you have to watch it.
Now I have to.
Now you're forced.
Yeah.
So-
It's great.
If you, the listener, don't want to be spoiled, or if you want to join the conversation for Her from 2013, make sure you watch that before the next episode airs in 2 weeks. And of course, if you are wanting to, you can join the fan vote, as we already stated at the beginning of the episode. We got four new movies to vote on, including Fight Club, Hourglass Sanatorium, Triple X, starring Vin Diesel, not the porno, and Starship Troopers. So if you want to vote on any of those movies, make sure you join the Discord, link down below, and go to the Film Freak section, and there should be a poll waiting for you the weekend that this episode airs, which will, it's every other week, so you got some time if you listen to this on, like, a Saturday. But if you listen to it on Monday, the following Monday after it comes out, you already missed it. Sorry.
Get your shit together, people.
Yeah, come on. Why wait until the last second? Do it now. While you're listening to this, right now, go over to the Discord.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, it's time for the final segment. Does anyone have any small recommendations for this episode? While you guys think, I'm going to say, if you can, watch the musical Wonka, starring what's his name? What's his face?
I've heard great things.
It was a lot of fun. I actually went into this hearing a lot of negative things about it. Timothy Chalamet.
Wow.
But I actually really ended up liking it, and as like a prequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is abysmal, it does the job pretty well. And I like the music. I think there's like maybe one song that I didn't vibe with, but everything was really well done. Some of the CG was a little iffy here and there, which is why I ended up on a 4 out of 5 for it. But it's actually a really fun, really well done movie. So give it a chance if you have it at a theater near you.
Awesome. I think I'm going to check it out this week, actually, because people won't shut up about it around me. So
My
Let's see.
siblings have been talking about it. I don't know if I'll see it, but
Well, I had a lot of fun. So,
that's good.
Nice.
and if you like Willy
I'll-
Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, there's plenty of references. It's a nostalgia movie after all, but it's like a competent good one. It's not so nostalgic that it's like beating your head in with like references.
Yeah. I think you recommended last time Godzilla -1, right?
Yes, actually, Greedy
That has
and
to
I
go.
recommended it.
Yes. Yeah. Because I finally got to see that, and yeah, I just will add my recommendation on top of yours.
Nice.
Yeah.
Would you give it a rating? Out of 5.
I don't know. I don't usually rate my movies with numbers unless it's for this podcast. But I did really enjoy it. I thought it was just done really well. So
Nice.
Oh, that's good.
I'll give it a
recommend
well done out of
the
5.
Video game Lake.
Oh, the
is-
one where you're
Alan
like a
Wake
mail
2?
carrier.
Yeah,
Oh.
I am having a blast. It's so
Which one?
chill. It's called Lake.
Oh, I thought you said Wake. I was like, Alan Wake?
No. Yeah, it's really chill. You get to like, it's like one of those ones where you kind of decide the story as it goes along.
Nice.
And it's fantastic. I suck at driving a mail truck. I have learned that. But the scenery is really great. The graphics are very indie and hilarious on occasion. So yeah, give it a try. It's
Nice.
great. It's on the PlayStation Plus or whatever it's called.
Nice.
I will also recommend, if we're going games, I've been playing a lot of Core Keeper lately, which is it's just a fun, chill-ish game. It's kind of like, it's a lot like Stardew Valley, Terraria, but also like RPG elements, and you're fighting bosses and digging and building bases and mining and crafting, and you can fish and basically everything. And it's still in early access, so it's still technically under development. But yeah, it's a fun game, and I would definitely say check it out.
I'm still suffering through Elden Ring.
So is that a small recommendation or?
I guess.
All right, if you want to suffer too, Elden Ring.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you to the listener for listening to this episode of Film Freaks with a Z. Like I said
Thanks.
before, it's a every 2 weeks kind of podcast, bi-weekly as they call it. And make sure you vote on the movie for the episode after Ray's recommendation. Choose our fate, essentially, just like Lake. Or so I hear. Is there anything else you all want to say before we end the show?
Be nice to people. Don't do illegal drugs.
Nice. Yeah. Or do. As long as you're nice to people, what do we care?
As long as you do it safely, I guess.
Yeah.
A bad icebreaker is "I want you," so don't do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
don't ever say that to somebody you fancy, please. Unless
All
you're
right.
like already know each other really well or on really good terms.
Or if you
maybe.
you just watch the movie and you jokingly say it.
Yeah.
Or if you're
Those-
together.
Yeah.
I want you. Anyway, I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I've been here with,
Radio Waffles.
Taymation.
Ray Festivity.
and this has been another episode of Film Freaks with a Z. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.